Good morning. This is Judge Alyssa Perez presiding over the 210th District Court criminal docket for October 27, 2022. All matters being heard today are being heard in accordance with all emergency orders and directives regarding COVID-19. In addition to that, we are streaming all matters live via YouTube for public viewing. Mr. Birdsong, just so you know, I'm going to go ahead and mute you right now, just because sometimes we get some background noise, and every once in a while it'll interfere with the. But if we need you to, we'll ask you to unmute. Okay, thank you. May I have announcements, please?
Samantha Rogg on behalf of the state. State's ready, Your Honor.
Edward Hernandez, Deputy Public Defender with a mental health unit, ready on behalf of Mr. Birdsong, ready to proceed, Your Honor.
Okay, good morning. And so we were scheduled, I think we had a probation status hearing not too long ago. And Mr. Hernandez, you had brought up some concerns and have filed a subsequent request. You want to go ahead and give me a quick rundown of what you are requesting?
Yes, Your Honor. The actual request or motion is that either my client be allowed to early terminate deferred adjudication probation now, or alternatively that he be allowed to move to Kansas, Your Honor. And the specific, if I may proffer, although I did ask my client to have witnesses ready if the court wants to hear them, but by proffer, Your Honor, there have been numerous instances now where the complaining witness in the cases that were recently dismissed and the underlying probation case continues to try to contact and communicate with my client. She has gone to the apartment where he's living, and the complex manager has warned her and notified her not to go there. Separately, she has gone again, and neighbors have told her to leave my client alone. She has cornered my client at a 7-Eleven with her vehicle. She is just not leaving him alone, Your Honor, and we believe there's it's only a matter of time before some other fabricated charge comes up against my client. And so all we're asking, Your Honor, is that my client either be early terminated or allowed to move to Kansas with his daughter. We did not include the specific address or name in the pleading, but my client has provided them to the probation officer, Mr. David Bruce, just so that he would know. But because we knew this would be a YouTube hearing, we did not want to reveal private information as to where my client would be going, Your Honor. But we're making that request just because it's very clear. The complaining witness is not going to stop. I called Mr. Bruce myself. He informed me there's nothing they can do about keeping her away from him, which is we believe the problem, Your Honor. So we're just requesting preferably early termination, because then you wouldn't be at risk of violating some order. And then he could just get up and leave. And I believe Mr. Bruce was supposed to reach out to the daughter to confirm everything we've said, Your Honor, as far as him being able to go there. But alternatively, at least that he be able to go there. My only concern, and I think probation can clarify this, is since he's originally, the family's in Oklahoma, but the daughter moved to Kansas. So I didn't know if a case could be transferred to Kansas if he's not an original resident there, or if maybe if it's a transfer instead, but maybe they can use blue cards to report or something, some way of him reporting from Kansas, Your Honor, but that would put plenty of distance between him and his ex-wife. With that, I'd pass to the state, Your Honor, or to probation.
Ms. Pineda, what is probation's position on the early termination or transfer?
Your Honor, unfortunately, as far as the transfer, I know Mr. Bruce, the officer, has attempted to contact Mr. Birdsong's daughter, but there hasn't been any verification. He's still looking into the following up that requirements for the transfer initiation. There is a process, obviously, as far as the transfer goes out of state. And probation needs to gather as many details regarding residents out there, who he will be residing with. So that is still up in the air. As of right now, Judge, he has a motion that continues to be open. The rearrest has been dismissed, which was one of the allegations, and he is being supervised under the domestic violence caseload. He still has a BIP, which he recently enrolled in and he's attending. As far as early discharge, Judge, I don't have any notes, but it is my understanding that in order for probation to be in agreement for an early discharge, client needs to be 100% compliant. And in this instance, he still lacks BIP completion.
So BIP's going to take a while, right?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, Ms. Rago?
Your Honor, the state's concern is the pending BIP. I had a note from September the 15th. We were going to leave the MTAG pending to see the status of BIP, and then if he registered, the MTAG would be dismissed at this point. Because he is registered, I'm willing to dismiss the MTAG, but concerned if he's early discharged because he hasn't completed BIP, Your Honor.
How does that work, Carla? So for example, he's just enrolled in BIP. How does that work in conjunction? For example, if we were to begin a transfer process, he continues to go here, and what if in the middle of his BIP classes he's allowed to transfer? Does that interrupt anything? Is he still able to complete BIP here? How does that work?
Your Honor, that would be the concern, though, only because I wouldn't be able to answer you right now as far as what Kansas has equivalent to BIP and how the program works out there in that state.
So are you telling me if he got transferred, he wouldn't be allowed if he was already in BIP and say had completed, I don't know, 2 or 3 classes, he wouldn't be allowed to continue?
Judge, I am not sure that would be something possible. I wouldn't know if Kansas program out there would allow any credit towards whatever he's attended here. That's something the interstate offices would have to go over. I'm not sure, to be honest, Judge, if they are attending BIP here now virtually still, or if it's still if it's in person right now. I honestly don't know that. Maybe Mr. Birdsong can let me know that.
So let me ask a couple of questions, one of which is going to be that, Mr. Birdsong, if your attorney doesn't know, if you will enlighten the court as to if you've taken any classes, how was that done in person or remotely? Mr. Hernandez, what are the potential witnesses that you all have? Does one of them happen to be the daughter?
No, Your Honor, I believe the witnesses, I believe he has the landlord and 2 tenants. Of course, I think the reason you see him walking around is because they're like different apartments and you would have to go to one and another. But I believe that's that.
So let me just tell you kind of preliminarily, I guess, I am not at a point where I would be considering an early discharge because I think we're lacking information. And if probation is not on board because we're still at an initial stage, for example, to complete BIP, I don't think I have enough information, certainly without having some contact with his daughter. So I don't have a problem, Mr. Hernandez, if we can give Mr. Bruce probation. Maybe you can make some effort to get daughter in here or have some kind of confirmation through probation that that's where we're headed. And in that instance, I think I would be prepared to act on a transfer. And it might be worthwhile to do that because if he's just enrolled in BIP right now, maybe if he's going to transfer, maybe we put that on hold while he accomplishes and see if he actually transfers so that he can start that process or some equivalent in Kansas.
Your Honor, may I respond very quickly?
Yes, sir.
One, Your Honor, I think, and I only because I used to be a parent's attorney in CPS cases, that there is an internet BIP program. I mean, there are different providers that he can take interstate for BIP. The second, Your Honor, is it's my understanding Mr. Bruce asked for the daughter's number 2 days ago. It's not like we've been hiding it. I don't think there's any problem getting her on. As long as she knows ahead of time, we can get her on the phone and have her testify. I just was not aware. And I'm not sure how much time is left on his probation. I don't know if it's 1 year or 2 years.
I saw till, when I thought I looked at it, it was till 2024, but I could be wrong. Let me see.
It is February 6, 2024.
Mhm. Yeah, so we had, I looked at that because I thought, well, if we don't have much time left, maybe we can consider some other options, but we have time. I don't know that there has been enough compliance to feel comfortable with an early discharge. If we had gone a little bit further, maybe with BIP or something of that nature, I absolutely hear what you're saying, but I think really where we are is a potential transfer, which is going to take time. But it may not take that much time to make that call. So I'll give probation, Ms. Pineda, if you can have Mr. Bruce follow up with me about where we are on contacting daughter. And if he has any information on the BIP program that Mr. Birdsong is enrolled in currently, and if it is not a remote type setup, if there is an option that might be better for us, even since we are considering the transfer, to do it that way. Okay.
Rana, if I may.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Bruce, I just asked him about the BIP if it's online, and he is attending an online course at this point.
Oh, good.
So I just want to get verification that in the event while the transfer is going on, and if he's accepted at Kansas State probation, if there would be any issues for him to continue online while being transferred and accepted out there. So that would be one thing just to follow up on, as well as the initial transfer itself.
Sounds good. I think that's where we're heading. In fact, I'm beginning to wonder why we should wait. Because I think what I'm saying is that I'm not looking at an early discharge. So without full confirmation yet, I think I'm comfortable saying we can go ahead and begin the transfer process. Yeah, let's just do that. Yeah.
Your Honor, may I add something?
Mm-hmm.
Just in front of the court, that way Mr. Birdsong and Mr. Hernandez can be on the same page. Mr. Birdsong, it's very important that he does communicate and get with Mr. Bruce in providing any documentation that Mr. Bruce needs to initiate that process. Now, in the process and while dealing with interstate, the acceptance, if he would be accepted, and the investigation can take up to 45 days. So he would have to stay here. He cannot leave. And again, once the investigation is going on, it's completely up to Kansas whether he would be accepted. And
so, Mr. Birdsong, what Ms. Pineda is trying to emphasize right now is that, again, it's a process. Just because I've approved a transfer doesn't mean it will actually happen. So it takes time. Please stay in contact with Mr. Bruce on every request for information from you, anything like that. Because if we want this to go through, obviously Kansas is going to need have their own requirements that will have to be satisfied kind of between us and them. If for whatever reason, Mr. Hernandez, that the transfer doesn't happen, if you need to come back, please stay. You're still on the case, so please stay on and we'll see where we are. Are there any issues right now? My thought is to bring you back maybe, may not happen before the end of the year.
We could probably at any time between now and the end of the year, Your Honor, just to make sure, because I'm more concerned with the complaining witness repeatedly trying to get a hold of my client.
We can try the 13th of December. We can come back 13th of December at 11 a.m. via Zoom.
And maybe by then everything will already be done and it won't be a problem, but just in case.
Okay, sounds good. So for now, your request on that transfer, Mr. Birdsong, has a question, but I'll need you to unmute.
At about 5:30, she said today.
Okay, Mr.
And
Burns, I'm sorry, I didn't hear full question. Go ahead and start over, please.
No, I was saying I already signed up for the family violence class like my attorney knows, and I've already went to one of the meetings the other day with the lady named Mary to do the intake, and then today she said I see her at 5:30 on the virtual on the phone.
Okay, so just continue to do that because that is still going to be a condition of your probation, okay?
Yes.
Right, they're just gonna see if Kansas will allow you, Mr. Birdsong, to go over there. They'll be working on that in the meantime. And keep me apprised if there's any more attempts to contact you by the complaining witness, okay?
Yeah. Does the court want to talk to one of my neighbors right now at the moment?
I don't find it necessary. I think I can take your attorney at his word and have considered it, I think, since the last time that we were here. So I'm good to go on that. I think there's enough of a showing here to try and get you over to Kansas. It's just a matter of whether Kansas will take you or not. Okay. And I've indicated to your attorney that in the event, because it's not an automatic thing, in the event that Kansas does not accept you, we will revisit whatever the circumstances are at that point. Okay, so that's why I need you to continue to do your classes, because in the event we're still here, if your attorney has made a request for either a transfer or an early discharge. If we are not able to accomplish a transfer and he comes back and you're requesting an early discharge, I am still going to look at your compliance, meaning, have you done your classes? Has Mr. Bruce had any issues with contacting you? Things of that nature, okay? With respect to all these other issues that Mr. Hernandez, your attorney, has brought up regarding the complainant, you need to communicate those to Mr. Hernandez and he can advise you on how to best handle that situation. But please understand, I'm under a position where the only person being watched or supervised is you, okay? And so please, discuss those kinds of things with your attorney. And if he has any concerns, I know he will contact the court. Understood? Mr. Birdsong, are you still there?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was saying that, I was letting the court know because my neighbors standing right here.
Understood. But I'm good, Mr. Birdsong. So if we need to come back, we'll come back. But in any event, we're going to check on the status in December. So we'll get your attorney his setting. Okay.
Okay.
And Mr. Birdsong, if you get transferred, let me know that too, okay? Okay.
Your Honor, will the court be dismissing the motion to adjudicate?
It was my understanding the state said it would, Your Honor.
Yes.
I just submitted it to you, Judge.
Okay. All righty. Then yes, the answer is yes. What else?
I think that's everything for now, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you very much, gentlemen. You all are excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Birdsong. Okay. Who's next?
In cause number 2020-0D03263 and 2019-0D06824 and 2021-0D00715, State of Texas versus Stephen Angel Gambor. Announcement on council, please.
Samantha Rogg on behalf of the state. State's ready, Your Honor.
And Carla, on this one, if you can send it to me through Teams as well. It's my Outlook is not cooperating.
Yes, Your Honor, I just did. I'm sorry. It's just, it freezes on me, my Teams, but I just sent it.
I know we've had a lot of computer issues. Is anyone here on behalf of Mr. Gamboa? I see Mr. Ortiz, and I thought Mr. Slattery was here too, but.
They were both here, Judge.
Let
Let me give them a call real quick.